All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining this session. I'm very excited about this session because we are going to hear from Bank of Canada and an experience with data that I think you will find very interesting. And so we're lucky to have Julie Champagne, who is Managing Director of Corporate Services and Data at Bank of Canada. So without further ado, Julie, over to you.
Merci beaucoup, Jean-Pascal. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure and honor to be here with all of you today. And yeah, I am excited about this session as well, in part because of what we're doing at the Bank of Canada, but more importantly, it's the opportunity to share with one another what is going on, some lessons learned, and some focus. And this is what I'm finding about this session here this week. So it's an important area, and there's important journey ahead, and so sharing is key. For today's presentation, I've got a number of slides, but if I can say, within the next, and I guess we've got another 25 minutes, what some of the three main points that I really want to share with you is that being a data or digital-driven organization is a continuous and evolving journey, is one of it. Our job is never finished. Two, central around this is the client and end user, so understanding their needs and really understanding what they need to be supported is important. And then three, that this is a team sport. So as Michael Jordan has said, talent wins games, but it's teamwork and intelligence that wins championships. And we're in this for the long run. So those are the key three main messages, and I'll share some lessons learned along the way. So if we can get to the next slide. And in that, I'll tell you a bit about us, what our call to action is, some of our approaches. So I'll share with you a use case, and I'll go through that quickly because I do want to share as well some final thoughts and leave some time for some questions if we do have time. So next. So a bit about us. So who is the Bank of Canada? Well, we're the Central Bank of Canada. And so key to what we do is monetary policy and ensuring the financial stability, economic and financial stability of Canada. We also ensure the distribution of funds, so money, banknotes, and we do funds management for the Government of Canada as well. And we just have a new mandate, which is retail payment supervision, which is another big data area. So if I look at this, a couple of key points on why I'm sharing this with you is one, got a number of different users, monetary policy, financial system. We ingest, so we acquire or get a lot of information externally, and to be able to make really good decisions about interest rates and financial stability, we need a lot of micro data to understand the economy, et cetera. So this is a very mature area, and then we've got more of our operations, which is currency and funds management. And that's mostly information that we create ourselves. So how do we leverage that information for ourselves is our focus. Retail payment supervision, really new. So we're helping them with the governance. And then underlying all this is our corporate services. And that's, again, different needs, different focuses, and a very different maturity. So in my group, so if we can go to the next slide. And for all of this, we're looking to harness the power of data for all the reasons you're looking as well, to improve decision-making, for process efficiencies, and for us we have increased accountability to Canadians as well. And of course, we want to make sure that we're managing the risks and as well, wherever we can, enhance our practices, et cetera. So next one. And to do all of this, it has been a journey. And I think I mentioned that as a first point, that this is an everlasting journey. We've started, and it's even before 2010, but on this diagram, we put it 2010 to say we were really looking at advanced data capabilities in support of our analytic environment. And that is when so it used to be a very decentralized approach. And in 2010 is when we consolidated the team under one area to really leverage economies of scale, to build in some expertise, and to be able to be more efficient in how we were processing information at that time. So it was a lot around gaining those economies of scale and enhancing our governance. And then in 29, and that progressively enhanced. And in 2019, we launched our first enterprise data and analytics strategy. And that was key, really key to setting out exactly what we wanted to do in the organization, to be able to promote it, because we were kind of the best kept secret. And so to be able to engage with others in a different language, we put together our strategy from that. And that was really important because it also was the catalyst for a number of things, such as building in data science as a center of expertise. We had it in a number of our business areas. However, we didn't have that center of expertise, and it was important from an understanding of the, what were we trying to do in that business case behind it, and really being able to inform on our vision. This was an important catalyst. And it was important as well from a bank-wide. We wanted to expand. We were really focused on that monetary policy and research area, and we wanted to expand across the organization. It was, again, done in pockets, and we wanted to enable that. So again, that strategy was important to inform across. It also supported a data fluency program that we had, as well as set the stage for data tools and platforms that were key, such as the data lake, that were key in enabling us to leverage that microdata and bring it to our clients in a more accessible, sustainable manner. It also supported what we needed to do around data governance. And so we've started that as part of this strategy as well. And as I said, it's a continuous journey. And so now that we've got some of the key foundational pieces in, we need to as well continue in enhancing that adoption across the organization, which means building more capabilities across, focusing on that self-serve, and as well enabling from a change management perspective our clients. And so that is when, central to all this is that client understanding of their needs. There was a saying from Peter Drucker that quality is a service so quality in a service or product is not what you put into it. It is what the customer gets out of it. And that's why that client-facing perspective is so important when we're looking at these changes. Again, because of those different client maturities as well. So the next. All right. And I mentioned that it's a team sport. So in the team, in my team at the moment, we've got an end-to-end from the information management, data management, all the way through to data and analytics, data science. So we look at it from end to end, but we also look at it from not just us, but from an IT and a tools and a capabilities perspective. And so this is continuously evolving from the skills and capabilities that we continue to have. And I would say partnership is definitely a key with our IT colleagues, because we together with our IT colleagues is what we bring forward to our clients. So next slide. And as far as our approach, again, we take an approach of enablement. So bringing that data to our clients, making sure that there's the quality, as I said, that is appropriate for the clients whom we serve. And we look to also ensure the responsible use. So as you can imagine, from being the Central Bank of Canada, we have a responsibility with regards to the way we use the information, that it is done in an ethical and an appropriate manner. And so that responsible use of data and information is key as well. So we put the guidelines there to enable our clients to use it in a way that is secure, but also in a way that they're not concerned about using it. We empower a data-driven organization that goes to the self-serve. And then we also are advancing innovation. So it is really important that we continue to enhance. It's a continuous journey, as we said. We use a lot of advanced analytics as well, because it is important that we are the leading central bank, so that we are looking at whether it's quantum and what's coming down the pipeline, whether it's generative AI, ChatGPT, et cetera, what is going on in our industry, so that we can support and enable, because part of our responsibility is also the well-being from a financial stability perspective. So key as well, as we on this journey, was to establish a vision for data governance that resonated with our organization, that resonated with our clients. And so we were very particular. Words matter, and we were very particular in this vision that because there's a lot more attributes than these, and these are the attributes we said are key to us, is to have data that are secure, accessible, and trusted. And trusted, accessible to all our clients, making sure security, but also trusted in the way that whether it's a single source of truth, whether it's trusted in, when we make policy decisions, it's important that those are made and are based on facts and information that enables those decisions. We look to use it, as I mentioned already, in a responsible manner, but also in sustainable and meaningful. And sustainable, we talked about some of it this morning, I think in some sessions, being data as a product, something that is an asset and can be reused. Because we want to be efficient. These are also taxpayers' dollars that we're using, and we want to make sure that we use it as effectively as we can. Sustainable also means that we can do more. And so this is, of course, to drive decision-making, insights, innovation, and efficiencies. So next slide. And this is just a bit more on, we're building on foundations such as governance, data management, and strategy to enable. Those enablement pieces are data assets, platforms, our capabilities across the organization. And across the organization, not just us, we are a center of expertise, but we look to do this across in our clients as well, and to be able to innovate. And so the next slide. And in doing that as well, we've created some frameworks within the bank. And all of these frameworks, I guess, are key as well. So when I was saying that it's a journey, part of our journey is to inform our clients, inform ourselves on what is most key, and also the roles and responsibilities. And we do it in a way that is flexible and allows for shifts in, so whether it's in one area as our monetary policy and financial stability, in our operations or our corporate administration, those, what are those roles and responsibilities, and making sure that they're clear across the organization. This is our own framework, and that was based on a number of industry frameworks that we used. And we're using it with words that resonate with our clients as well. So next slide. And in so doing, we looked at what the standards are, and we also inform, again, because it's important that people understand what the different service areas that we have. This is our services that promote our data-driven culture. And so again, it starts from the governance and strategy, people, processes, information, data, analytics services, and then the underlying tools and infrastructure. And so this is also the types of services that we provide to the organization, and enabling them to be able to make the decisions, have the insights, And as well, I'll just point to one aspect here because I did not mention it, is also that partnership and that internal and external data sharing. More and more what we're trying to do at the Bank of Canada is also to be able to publish or provide data to others outside of the organization for their own research or academia, et cetera, to be able to do their own research with information that is quality and trusted. So we're going to likely see this increase in the types of services and output that we look to have, and partnerships, absolutely important partnerships, either with, for example, our National Statistics Office to inform on the data gaps, with academia, with others across these realms, and with the private sector. These partnerships are really key to be able to get the information that we need to acquire and inside the organization, but also to share it outside the organization. And on the analytics and innovation, sorry, I'll just, one more on that front, is innovation is also key from, so certain things that we're looking at, for example, are even quantum, and we've held a quantum conference for central banks, because it is important that we prepare for not only the opportunities, but also the challenges that will bring, or the risks that will bring. And so being informed, being able to lead the financial environment, being able to ensure that we are ready is key to the financial stability of Canada. So there's the whole gamut here. And next slide. And so just as an example, so we've got a lot of different areas. One example where we had an interesting use case was banknote wear analysis. So we've shifted from, so what you would have here in the United States would be paper-based banknotes. We've gone to what is more like it's polymer, it's more of a plastic. And our team wanted to understand how much wear there was and in what areas there were wear, what kind of banknote, if it was in smaller denomination or larger denomination, if it depended on the areas within Canada. So looking at different potential indicators or attributes to be able to see the wear. And so we had to really look at it from strategy. So from all of these areas, strategy and governance, from a people, we had to create our squad, or our it's a team sport. We had to understand what were some of the indicators that were most important, as I mentioned. And as well, we were piloting this within our data lake to see and to continue to enhance our capabilities in that structure. If we can continue. And see, these were some of our objectives. We had high volume, high velocity data. So we had a lot of data on all of our banknotes, and we had to determine how best to analyze it. And that's when we had our experts from a data science perspective, but also working with the business, working with IT to make sure that we had the tools, the capabilities, and the appropriate output that we would get from it. And so if we go to the next slide. And so this is the anomaly detection. We were looking for those needles in the haystack of what are some of these indicators. And to be able to do that, we had to do it in a way that we could visually be able to pinpoint where these anomalies would be found. And so it wasn't just about the script, but it was also about the interpretation and the visualization of the information to enable the client to be able to understand. And so, so these were results. We did find some anomalies that are leading to more analysis around this area. And we had a use case that informed that we could use the data lake. We're putting in more information into that data lake and looking at different use cases with that base information. And so the next slide. And so our next steps. So, we're going to dial in some of those thresholds. We're going to look at further research and into the velocity, into the modeling, and look at how we can look at wear patterns in different ways. This as well was interesting because part of this use case was understanding how it was used through the pandemic. And as I mentioned earlier, we were also looking at different types of whether there was different types of differences, whether they were geographic, whether they were with different institutions, organizations, etc. So next. And so, sorry that I'm going through this quickly. Just know that we don't have a lot of time. And these are, the lessons and recommendations that really it is important to, as I said, it's that team sport. Understanding the client was super important right from the get-go to understand these needs, because you can imagine this is needle in the haystack means we had a lot of micro data. And so it could have brought us to a number of different places. Being really focused on what it is that we were trying to do was key. Bringing in those expertise to look at different possible solutions and work through what the benefits were was very important. And it led to a product that is useful to the client and some next steps. And so, it's and it's not just the technology and platforms. It was the processes we used. It was the discussions we had, the people we brought at the table, and it was using new innovations and new techniques and envisioning what this could look like. And so I think I will leave it at there because I know we only have a few minutes for questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Julie. This was very, very interesting. So we have a few questions that have come through. I have one myself. Do you guys in central banks share ideas about data governance, what to do, how to do it with, in the US, central bank in France, central bank, in Europe, how much do you share? I'm very interested in this.
So we share a lot.
You do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are the only central bank in Canada. So we've had a conference on quantum. We've had just this Saturday quantum on statistics and data science. That was a satellite conference with the Irving Fisher Committee, so the World Statistical Congress. We have, a CDO conference that's coming up in Washington at the Federal Reserve Board so that we can share practices. We have a monthly meeting with our CDOs that we share practice. So it is imperative, and we do that openly and with joy.
With joy, excellent.
With joy, yes. And it's important to learn from one another. And I think this is what this conference is as well, which is key because I'm sharing some of the lessons learned. It doesn't all go well, and that's okay because failure is part of that journey. I don't see it as failure. I see it as a learning, and it is part of that journey. And it's not from A to B. Everybody's journey is a bit different.
Of course.
And I would say as well, the speed, what do they say? Speed is useful only if you're going in the right direction. Right. And so, making sure that we continue to, ensure that we are going in the right direction. We're learning from each other. And and I've got somebody from my team that's just saying, yes, and there's the data management and technology committee across central banks. So you can see even my team. So we are across our teams have these types of sharing and learning. And and as I was saying, it's all at a different speed, right? Because it has to be as well in alignment with our clients.
Right.
And if our clients are not ready for it, then we have the journey is different as well. Right. So it depends on the organization. Right. So yes, thank you for your great question.
So I have a follow-up one on this. And so where are the gaps right now at Bank of Canada? Like from where you are, what keeps you up at night? What are the critical things and you are thinking, oh my God, now that we have gone all this way, what are the next big things that we need to tackle?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is managing the expectations of our clients, because once they see the power of data. Once they see the capabilities that are there and available, they want to go really fast. So managing that, it's great to be loved. It's hell to be all the rage, I guess is the expression. So that is one, but it's a really good problem. It's a problem I love. So that is one. Secondly, it's ensuring, so I would say the other thing is, let's say a different one is and we have things in place, is the ethical, the responsible use. So because we're a central bank, we need to make sure to be using microdata in a very safe, secure manner. And some of this is very sensitive that we get from external, from the banks, et cetera. And so ensuring that that data is secure, that it's responsibly used is imperative, because it could have repercussions to us from a central bank perspective. And I would say third is some of the making sure that we stay in the forefront as well. We're not a big team, yet we're a big player in the financial system. And so we've got experts, we've got passionate people, making sure that we continue to leverage these types of sessions, that we continue to be play a leadership role and be at the forefront is also key.
Excellent. Well, Julie, thank you very much. This was really, really interesting. I certainly took a lot away on my side, and I'm sure the audience as well. So you can keep asking questions. By the way, I have to apologize. I hijacked the Q&A with my own questions, even though there were a whole bunch of them from the audience. But all your questions coming through Hoover, will be sent to Julie, and then Julie, you'll be able to answer them. So thank you, everyone, and stay tuned for the next session on Track F. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Merci à tout le monde. It was a pleasure.